Hi friends, welcome to English Study Point. Today in this video lecture I am going to discuss George Herbert's poetry title as Love 3. So George Herbert was a Welsh poet, orator means speaker, and Anglican priest. He is best known for his religious poetry, which explores themes related to faith, divinity, and the human experience with God. Herbert's work often reflect his deep spirituality and his struggles with doubt and redemption. His major works are titled as The Temple, The Country Parson, The Synagogue, A Priest to the Temple, and his works revolve around themes such as Herbert's work try to depict the tension between belief and skepticism. Exploration, there is a kind of exploration of God's qualities, love and justice, and many of his poems reflect Herbert's personal spiritual journey, and also his poetry is categorized by clever word play. Intricate means complex structures are used in his poetry, and metaphysical concepts are also used, establishing him as a significant figure in religious literature. Here I am beginning with actual lines of these poetry. Love bade me welcome, yet my soul drew back. So this opening presents two contrasting emotions: the welcoming nature of love, often interpreted as God or divine love, and the speaker's reluctance due to feelings of guilt. So also we see there is a imagery of hesitation. This phrase drew back means a physical and emotional recoil, highlighting a sense of unworthiness, guilty of sin and dust and sin. So what we see here is the speaker acknowledges their guilt, associating it with human mortality, means dust, and sinfulness. This line grounds the poem in the human condition, emphasizing vulnerability. Here this term dust symbolizes human origin and the transient nature of life, reinforcing the speaker's feeling of unworthiness. But quick eyed love, observing me grow slack from my first entrance in. So, love is personified with the ability to observe and react, suggesting a nurturing yet persistent presence. And also, this term grow slack reflects a decline in eagerness, underscoring the conflict between the initial desire for divine acceptance and the weight of sin. Drew nearer to me, sweetly questioning if I lacked anything. So, love's action of drawing nearer signals an intimate connection, breaking down barriers of guilt and shame. And also, the query hints at unconditional love's desire to understand needs, inviting the speaker to express their fears or shortcomings. Then, a guest, I answered, worthy to be here. So the speaker responds by claiming worthiness, yet this is ironic given their earlier admission of guilt. This contradiction highlights inner turmoil. The guest here is a kind of metaphor which underscores feelings of being an outsider or an intruder in the presence of love. Then love said, "You shall be he." So love's response serves as an affirmation, suggesting that worthiness is not conditional on moral perfection, but rather on the act of acceptance itself. And this line emphasizes on divine grace. So here we see that this line suggests grace inherent in love, which extends welcome regardless of perceived unworthiness. I, the unkind, ungrateful, oh, my dear. So, there is a kind of the speaker introspects on their unkindness and ingratitude, reflecting a recognition of their faults, which adds depth to their emotional state. So, this term, my dear, conveys an affectionate tone towards love, suggesting a beloved relationship that comforts the speaker. I cannot look on thee. So the speaker feels ashamed and unable to meet the gaze of love, reiterating an emotional barrier formed by their shortcomings despite love's presence. Symbolism of eyes is also used. So eyes symbolize perception and truth. The inability to look at love symbolizes the struggle to accept grace. Love took my hand and smiling did reply, who made the eyes but I? So the act of taking the hand signifies intimacy and assurance, showing love's supportive nature amid insecurity. So the rhetorical question serves a dual purpose. It emphasizes love's role as the creator of perception and acknowledgement of worthiness, and it invites the speaker to recognize their inherent value. So, this poem is a sort of powerful dialogue between the speaker and love, embodying themes of guilt, grace, and acceptance. It depicts the struggle with feelings of unworthiness in the face of divine love, ultimately concluding that inherent worth comes from love itself, suggesting that acceptance and understanding are central to the spiritual journey. And the use of vivid imagery, personification, and rhetorical queries creates a poignant reflection on the dynamics of faith and redemption. Now, here we see truth, Lord, but I have marred them, let my shame. So the speaker addresses God or a higher truth, acknowledging their faults. The use of marred suggests that the speaker feels they have disfigured or blemished something pure or good, likely referring to their feelings or actions in love. They express a desire for their shame to be dealt with appropriately. Go where it doth deserve. So the speaker wishes for their shame to be sent to an appropriate place, implying a longing for redemption or forgiveness. There is an undercurrent of accountability. The speaker recognizes their misdeeds and acknowledges that shame is a fitting response. And know you not, says love, who bore the blame. So the personification of love is central. Love questions the speaker, suggesting that love itself has taken on the blame for failures and shortcomings in relationships. This implies that love is both a powerful force and a burden. And also, we see there is an idea of love's inherent complications. My dear, then I will serve. So, in response, the speaker submits to love's authority. This line reflects a willingness to accept responsibility and perhaps to serve love faithfully, indicating a shift towards humility and commitment. There's a tone of devotion emerging. You must sit down, says love, and taste my meat. So, love invites the speaker to partake in its offerings, whether these are emotional, spiritual, or even sensual. Sitting down connotes a moment of intimacy and contemplation, where the speaker is encouraged to experience love more fully. So I did sit and eat. So the conclusion of this exchange shows acceptance and engagement. The act of eating symbolizes taking in the sense of love, suggesting consumption and desire. It reflects a moment of surrender and acceptance of the complexities of love, highlighting both the richness and the difficulty of this emotional experience. So this poem in a way reflects themes of love, responsibility, shame, and the paradoxical nature of emotional connections. It conveys a journey from acknowledgement of flaws to an embrace of love's complexities. Then with this video lecture ends here. Hope this video lecture will help you in your exams. Thank you.